find a position that you can sit comfortably in for 5-7 minutes or so. And just allow yourself to arrive here. Allow your focus and awareness to just pull inside. Feel yourself consciously just withdrawing those organs of sensation from the world outside to the world inside. As you exhale, just let yourself let go. Let go of whatever you're holding on to that's causing you to be stuck. A mask that you wear, a role that you play, an expectation you have that's not being fulfilled. An attachment, a grudge, whatever it may be, just allow yourself to let it go. Exhale and allow yourself just to sink into that pure self at the core of your being. Just exhale and let go. The universe will hold you. Mother Earth will hold you. Just exhale and let go. And as you inhale, allow yourself to breathe in this sacred atmosphere. the sacred air. That sacred prana, the life force. The same that has been breathed by the sages and the saints, the rishis and the yogis here in the Himalayas. Breathe it in. And let it touch and illumine and awaken all of the cells of your being. Letting go on the exhalations of that which is not self, not highest truth, and inhaling that which is sacred and holy. Feel the energy in the self shift. As you exhale and let go of that which is not self. And as you breathe in the sacred life force of light, of awakening, of holiness. Slowly bring the palms of your hands together at chest level and rub them gently against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Slowly open your eyes and lower your hands. Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with all of you. How can I teach myself to listen to Mother Ganga? Is there a way to receive her message? So I was speaking the other night about just sitting on the banks of Ganga and listening to her. Now, when we think about a message from the divine, whether we say a message from God, a message from Ganga, a message from the divine in any way, we've got these really kind of preset ideas of how we think it's going to come. You know, like some shining neon flashing light as you're driving down the freeway and you can't miss it and it's very bright and it's going to shine in all capital letters, very, very easy to read. And they don't always come like that. The messages come in so many different ways. So when we listen, we don't listen only with our ears that speak language, that understand language and words. We listen also with our hearts. We listen with our inner being, because you could hear that message in so many different ways. I know throughout my life I've gotten so many messages. I hear so much, but it's not always verbal. It's not like I'm walking on the banks of Ganga and she says, "Hey, psst, I've got a secret." It's not like that. It's a knowing that comes from within. Now again, sometimes people hear actual voices. I heard one once when I was walking through this ashram at the very beginning, and it said, "You must stay here." But that was the only time that I've ever heard it quite like that, in terms of this really external voice speaking to me. The rest of the times, the different messages seem to come in different ways within. Sometimes they come slowly, sometimes it's that in one moment, oh my God, you can see it, understand it clearly. Ganga is the giver of liberation. That's why she's here on earth. The story of Mother Ganga is a story of the goddess who was living in heaven and came onto earth actually to give liberation to the the fallen sons, the piles of ashes that were the sons of a king named King Sagar. Long story, but essentially his army worth of sons had managed to insult a great sage while he was meditating. And when the sage opened his eyes, the power in his eyes literally turned all of these young men into ash. Now, in the Hindu tradition, there's a huge emphasis on final rites of a loved one when they die, to make sure that their souls become one with God, that they're not stuck in this, what we call the wheel of samsara, this constant cycle of birth and death and birth and death and birth and death, born out of ignorance and attachment and illusion. So there's this huge emphasis on that. So naturally King Sagar was bereft, because what are you going to do with all of these ashes that were actually in the underworld? And so he was told, well, if Ganga comes on the earth, and if she flows as a river over the piles of ashes of your sons, they will attain liberation. Even though they died this death by insulting a sage, still, if Ganga flows over them, they will get ultimate liberation. So he prayed, then his son prayed, then his grandson, King Bhagirath, did incredible amounts of sadhana. Incredible. And finally, Ganga came on earth. Now, I mention this because Ganga's essence is to free us, to grant us that freedom from ignorance, from attachments. It's not just when you die, your ashes are immersed in Ganga and you attain liberation. It's while you're living. Freedom from that which is keeping you stuck. Freedom from that which makes us feel dead, even though our heart is still beating and we're still in a body. So if you were to say, what's the message of Ganga? Well, Ganga is going to bless you in your own individual way, in your own individual relationship with her, in a way that's going to give you some freedom, some spaciousness inside of you to understand the divinity of you. Ganga's not going to give you a message and say, this university versus that one, or this job over that one. Or, yeah, take him back, he's a good catch. You know, she's not making those sorts of decisions for you. She's going to speak to you in a way in which you're going to find freedom from things that are making you stuck, grudges. You'll find that Ganga eases you into forgiveness, that she eases you into letting go, that she eases you into ease, that she creates in you some space between your true self and all of this ignorance, all of the stuff that's keeping you stuck. So don't expect a particular voice, a particular way that she's going to speak, but just sit on her banks and allow that flow to flow not only in front of you, but through you. One of my favorite meditations, and It's very powerful this time of year where the flow of Ganga is still very high and you can hear her very easily, is to sit on the banks of Ganga, and as you meditate, as you hear her waters, as you feel even the mist from her waters, feel them flowing through you, not just in front of you. And as you feel that, feel like she's literally wresting from within you junk. I think of myself sometimes as, one of those pots after you've cooked and there's gunk stuck on the inside of the pot. But if you soak it for a while in water and then you run it under really strong water, it helps get all of the gunk out from in the pot. And when I feel Ganga flowing through me, for me the visualization is always that of flow through me and get this gunk out of me. All of these vestiges of past grudges or past angers or past attachments or false identification or jealousies or anger or competition or all of these things that are blocking our channel from feeling that flow of the divine. You can think of it as like plaque on your arteries and getting some kind of very special treatment of just this high-powered, high-pressure flow through that artery, also pulling out all of the plaque gunk from the sides of the blood vessel. And just feel that water flowing through you, freeing you. And don't worry if you hear her message in words, or you just feel the presence of this mother river, freeing you from whatever it is that's making you stuck. And you'll feel her. I promise. I can't say you'll definitely hear her in words, but don't worry, it doesn't matter. Sometimes the mother speaks to us in words. Sometimes mom just pulls us into her lap and holds us. And if you're a child pulled into the lap of the mother, you never think, well, why is she not speaking to me? She is speaking to me. You feel her. You're in the lap of the mother. So just let yourself feel that. And if words arise, beautiful. If they don't arise, also beautiful. Either way. Questions? Any questions here? Yes.
Hello. I just wanted to ask, when we visit a temple or get connected to nature, going to a forest or sitting near a river or going to the ocean, there is a blissful moment for a certain period of time, but the frequency of that blissful moment reduces with time. And after some time, when we are in the, let's say, get a heavy work schedule or in traffic jams, anxiety and stress creeps in. So I just wanted to ask, how do we increase the duration of that blissful moment?
Beautiful. Yeah, it happens to all of us. We go to temple, we go on spiritual retreats, we go into nature, and we feel that incredible power of the divine, of that divine connection. And then we find ourselves in a board meeting, or in the subway, or stuck in traffic, or in a fight. And we're not able to access that feeling. It'll happen slowly the key really is every time when you're there, let it go deeper and deeper and deeper. So that it's actually not just calming you, but transforming you. That which we experience when we feel connected to the divine, whether it's in a temple, whether it's in a forest, when we feel that connection, let it go deep. Take it in as deeply as you can. Allow yourself to really be with it. Not just, oh, isn't this nice? Okay, now I'm leaving. But see how deeply you can actually feel transformed. Because the more deeply you're changed, the more it's going to stay with you. If it dissipates really quickly, it's because it didn't really change you, it just temporarily charged your batteries. And there's nothing wrong with that. We are energetic beings, and so much like our mobile phones or anything, we need to be charged up sometimes. And it's why we keep coming back. It's why we meditate every day. It's why we go to temple as much as we can. It's why we go to Aarti every day. It's why we go into the forest, into beautiful places as much as we can. Because the more we can charge ourselves, the more charged we are. But ultimately the goal is for that charge to last. And what that means is that the battery itself has to be strong. And sometimes what you need is a longer, more intensive period for that battery so that it can hold the charge. You know, it's like if you've got a phone that's old, fully charge it, it'll give you a couple of hours. You get a new phone, charge it up, you'll get the whole day. Because the battery on the old phone isn't able to hold as much charge. It has become debilitated. Well, the same thing happens to us. If we've been under incredible stress, incredible tension, if we've been really mired in this world of material pulls and stress and separateness and othering and anger and competition and Maya, we may go to a temple, come to Aarti, meditate, go to the forest, and have a beautiful experience, but it may not last very long because our battery isn't able to hold that much. And what that may mean is that you need a little battery repair. You don't need a new one. You don't have to replace it. You're not a mobile phone. But you may just need to do some battery repair, meaning a little bit of a longer retreat, a little bit more of an intense time that really repairs you, not just temporarily relaxes you, such that that battery can start to actually hold more of a charge. And what you may find, what I think you're likely to find, is that once that battery gets repaired, then it's able to hold the charge. Then you meditate in the morning and you can hold it. You go to the temple even once a week, you hold it. You come to Rishikesh or other places periodically, you can hold it. Because that battery has become strong. But if you find that you're not able to hold it for very long, it may be a signal that you need a little bit more, intensive battery repair. Other questions? Yes.
Namaste, Pranam. If one has found the larger purpose of life, but you are also attached with your social and family, responsibilities, and you appreciate that also needs to be taken care of. So how one, kind of make this advancement or a progress in the path that you think that you have found for yourself, but you also do not want the guilt of kind of detaching yourself with the responsibility of family and being with them.
Yeah, guilt is poison. It'll ruin you. But fear of guilt is also poison. It also ruins you. Which means that we have to find a third solution. Because on the one hand, if we make a choice that makes us feel guilty, then we're guilty and miserable. But on the other hand, if we make a choice that makes us miserable, but we're making the choice because we don't want to feel guilty, we're also miserable. So either way, guilty or not guilty, we're miserable. And this is where we have to get clear, especially at your age, of what's the difference between my responsibilities and my attachments. This is why in Indian traditional teachings, we've got what they call these 4 ashrams of life. So your student years ashram is called brahmacharya. In those years, your dharma is study. Study, learn. Learn in school, learn about yourself, learn about the world, learn about God, learn about each other. Learn. And then you're in grihast ashram phase, which are your householder years. Your dharma is put food on the table, educate your kids, make a good life, take care of your parents, raise your children correctly. And then you move into what's called the vanprast phase of life, which is our kids are grown, married, with jobs of their own. We've earned enough. We'll be fine for the rest of our lives. No need to keep earning. Now is the time to start slowly unhooking ourselves from all of these attachments. And then, of course, the sannyas phase of life. But it's difficult. Because, of course, there's attachments and there's maya, and it's easy to believe that our responsibilities continue to extend. And remember that you've got free will. There's no right decision or wrong decision. Nobody is going to say, thou shalt make this decision or that decision. Thou shalt pick up your grandchildren every Friday and take them home for the weekend, or you shall not. There's no right or wrong answer. It's entirely up to you. But the only thing to be clear on is, what's my ultimate goal? Once you know what the ultimate goal is, it becomes a lot easier to make decisions. And it doesn't mean, by the way, that you cut yourself off completely. Be a wonderful father. Be a wonderful grandfather. It's beautiful. Love is the stuff life is made of. But you're going to have to figure out how much of that involvement and enmeshment and attachment is love for love's sake, and how much of it is attachment and enmeshment and drama and Maya and all of that. And at some point you're going to extricate yourself from that. Whether it's because you leave your body or at some point before that. But the reason that we're given these 4 phases is so that we can be ready for when we do leave our body. So that we've actually attained the reason that we were born, which is to actually know ourselves, to know the truth about the self, which is hard to do when you're holding down a full-time job and kids are in school and there's demands in the house and you're taking care of your parents also frequently in the same house. It's hard to be really focused on a spiritual path in that phase. And that's why we have these other 2 phases after that, in which you're supposed to slowly, it's the gently peel off the Band-Aid rather than rip it off. The rip it off is you stay attached until you die. And then at that moment, it's the universe that comes in and essentially rips off that really stuck Band-Aid. And it hurts. Or you spend those years slowly, finding yourself that isn't father, that isn't grandfather, that isn't husband, but that is soul, that is spirit, that is consciousness, that is eternal, that is not the one who is just retired from this, but is the one who was never born, who's never going to die, who has no age, who has no race, who has no religion. To find that truth in the self. Because you want to find that before you die. It's why you were born. So at some point along the way, make sure that you find that. The exact way is up to you. You know, as I always say, the universe is incredibly patient. You want to do it this life? Great. You don't want to do it this life? No problem. You can do it next life. It's okay. The universe is very patient. At some point, you will extricate yourself from it. And you'll find that freedom. And whenever that time is right, you'll feel it. You'll find it. There's a great story of a young man who's living in an ashram with his guru. And he says to his guru, he's just about to officially get initiated into monastic renunciation, into sannyas. But he says to his guru, you know, I'm young, I've never really lived, and so before I take this actual decision of really dedicating my life to spirituality, I think I should go and just take a few years and kind of see what it's all about, just so that I don't have any regrets later on. So the guru says, all right, go. So the man goes and 5 years pass. 10 years pass. The man is now married and he has kids, and one day there's a knock on the door. And his wife answers, and there's an old man at the door who asks for the husband. And he comes to the door, and immediately he recognizes his guru. And the Guru says, what's happening? What are you doing? And he says, God, and the Guru says, come. It's not 5 years, it's been 10 years. And the man says, oh, but now, Guruji, I can't come. The kids are young. Who's going to look after them? My wife, she's young also. So much is needed. Our business is just beginning to take off. Just give me another few years. Then I'll come, I promise. So the Guru goes away. 5 years pass. 10 years pass. The Guru comes back and he opens the door, and he knocks on the door, and the door is opened by a young man. And he asks for the young man's father. And the young man tells how his father has passed away. But the Guru notices that there's this dog in the house barking. And he recognizes in the dog his disciple. So he says to the young man, do you mind if I just play with your dog for a little while? The young man says, no problem. So the Guru says to the dog, what are you doing? What happened? And the man says, he says, now finally come with me. And the man says, I can't. Don't you see they've lost their father. They're still young. They're only in their early 20s. What are they going to do? As the dog, I can protect them. Anybody who tries to hurt them, I will bite them. I will bark. I will be their protector. That's why I came back as a dog, so I could protect them. And just give me another few years. Just let them get older and stronger, and then they won't need me. And so the Guru says, the Guru goes away. He comes back many years later, and he knocks on the door. And now there's 2 young kids who he sees are the grandchildren. And they let him in. He asks the dog. The dog obviously has long since died. And the Guru can see, though, in his mind's eye, that his disciple has become a snake and is guarding the family safe. That he's wedged into a hole in the wall by the family safe. And so he says to these kids, look, go inside. Go to where the safe is. In that wall you will find a snake. Don't kill it. But just break its back. And then bring it to me. So the kids, they go in. They tell their parents what the old man at the door has said. So they go, and they go to where the safe is, and they find the snake, and they do just as the Guru said. They broke his back. And they bring it to the Guru in a bag. And the Guru says, thank you, and he takes it, and he takes the snake, and he slings it over his shoulder. And he says, enough. Enough. Now you're coming with me. There's no end. There's no end. You went out for a few years. Here we are, 3 lifetimes of yours later. Because with each lifetime, you actually got more and more stuck. More and more stuck. Now you're going to come with me and I will make you free. So I love that story because it's such a beautiful illustration of how so many of our minds think when we think about going onto a spiritual path. First I'll do this, then I'll do that, then I'll meditate. Then I'll actually dedicate myself. And by the way, it has nothing to do with vows of monastic renunciation. There's nothing in any of our scriptures or teachings that says you must leave the world, you must leave relationships, nothing like that. In fact, many of the sages, the rishis, were married, were householders. So there's nothing that says you must leave that. But just that internally, your direction, your focus, your attention, your intention must be your spiritual path. And you can do that in the world. It just requires priority. What's your focus? What's your priority? We've all only got the same number of hours every day. How are you going to fill them? You can only think one thought at a time. What thought are you going to have? What are you going to do with your mind? What are you going to do with your time? That's for each of us to decide. But if you know what your goal is, then it helps you make those decisions a lot more easily. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evenings. A beautiful day to our family joining us through the gift of technology from all over the world. And I look so forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And so much love to you.